All right, welcome back to the Double Play channel where I show you how you can put your money to work in two places at one time by leveraging the cash value of a maximum overfunded life insurance policy. So if you've been searching the internet looking for information on investing in real estate using life insurance, you've come to the right place. So be sure to like and subscribe to this channel now so that you're notified whenever I come out with new videos. Now, one of the goals of this channel has always been to try and answer every question that you guys might have about investing in real estate utilizing a life insurance policy. And I've kind of always assumed that people understood that you could borrow against the policy right away, based on the way that I present the videos. But one of the most common questions I receive from new prospects is, how soon can I borrow against the policy's cash value? So I thought I'd do a quick video addressing this subject, which I kind of already gave away. But if you're interested, stick around after the intro and we'll get started. All right, thanks for sticking around. I'm Tom Rutkowski with Innovative Retirement Strategies, and this is my Double Play channel. I know how hard it can be to try and find information on investing in real estate utilizing life insurance on the internet. A lot of sites have fluff and great pictures, but they really want to just capture your email or have you call in. They want you to invest like the Rockefellers, but you've got to speak to one of their agents to find out how exactly that's done. Now, I prefer to put all of my content out there for free because I presume that you would like to work with somebody who understands the business and knows their stuff. So I put everything out there so that you know what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with. So with that, I just want to cover some of my basic housekeeping items and then we'll get started. Everything that we're talking about today is educational in nature. There's no tax advice, no legal advice, no financial advice. And the primary purpose for life insurance is the death benefit protection. Any other benefit is purely ancillary. So today we're answering the simple question, how soon can I borrow against the cash value of the policy? Now listen carefully, the answer is immediately. How soon you can borrow against a properly designed maximum overfunded life insurance policy is almost immediately. Now understand that you've got to apply for the policy, you've got to go through underwriting, they've got to issue the policy, you've got to pay for the policy. So just, give them a few days for your premium payment to get posted to the account. But after that, you're free to call in and request a policy loan or start working with a bank to get a cash value line of credit against the policy. So there you have it. The rest of this video, if you want to stick around, I'm going to dedicate to talking about, what exactly I mean by a properly designed policy, because the key words in that, is as long as the policy is properly designed, you can borrow against the policy's cash value immediately. So I want to give you an idea of what that looks like. It's important to understand that almost all life insurance policies do not allow you to access the cash value in the first policy year. And secondly, they also have surrender charges that severely restrict how much cash value you can borrow against. So most policies you're not able to borrow against the policy's cash value. So what I want to do here is talk about what riders need to be put on the policy, what policy options need to be available so that the policy can be borrowed against immediately. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to work for the double play. So we're going to take a look at Index Universal Life and Whole Life separately, and we'll start with Index Universal Life. So with IULs, it's important to understand that you need to have a rider on the policy that waives the surrender charges. Without that rider, the surrender charges are going to severely restrict how much cash value you have access to. You may have a properly designed policy as far as maximum cash value, minimum death benefits, but if you don't have that rider that waives the surrender charges, the cash value's there in your account, but you're not able to access it, which is what you need to do for the double play. And then the second thing is you need to have the ability to take a variable policy loan within the first year of the policy. And that severely limits the field of potential candidates. So between the early values rider that waives the surrender charges, and that goes by different names and different companies, between that and the access to a variable loan option immediately, I mean, that restricts the universe of companies that have policies that were able to be used for the double play down to about 5 that I'm aware of. So it's very important that you work with an agent that understands exactly what you're looking for a policy for leveraging into real estate. So let's talk about variable loans and why you need a variable loan. So a variable loan allows your cash value to remain in the interest crediting options that you've selected, which means you have an opportunity for interest rate arbitrage. Where the cash value is going to earn whatever the cash value earns based on whatever interest crediting option that you've selected. And you're going to pay whatever the interest rate is. Current rates are right around 4% for most policies, and those are linked to the Moody's corporate bond index, or bond yield, I should say. Now, there's other options available. Most policies allow you to only have access to a fixed loan for some number of years before they offer access to a variable loan if they have it. Now, fixed loan may sound good, but when you take a fixed loan, they take all of your collateral that's securing that loan and they move it into their fixed interest crediting option. So that destroys any opportunity that you have for interest rate arbitrage right there. And then to make it even worse, usually during the first 10 years of the policy, they penalize you by not crediting as much towards the account as they're charging you in interest. So it's the opposite of interest rate arbitrage. You're actually paying to use the money. And then other policies have index loan options, which I would categorize as a variable loan option. I mean, it's something that allows your cash value to remain in an interest crediting option, although it's a unique interest crediting option. And then the next option for a loan would be a cash value line of credit. So to a certain extent, going out to a third-party bank and using a cash value line of credit allows you to get around the restriction. If the policy only offered a fixed loan, this would allow you to get a loan that allows your cash value to keep earning interest at the rate that you want in your interest crediting options and still have access to the money. But, that said, it's still nice to have access to either. And that's why I usually try to steer my clients towards a policy that has the early cash value rider and a variable loan option in the first year, and we can always get a cash value line of credit. So just wrapping up on Index Universal Life, you need to have a policy that has the ability to waive the surrender charges, and you want to have a variable loan option that's available in the first policy year. On the whole life side, here it's important to understand that whole lives are constructed completely differently from an index universal life. So in the index universal life world, I simply input the premium that the client intends to pay into the software and basically ask it or program it to work backwards to solve for the lowest a policy with the lowest possible death benefit given that premium. And so that's going to be a maximum overfunded policy. And we're going to put a rider on that policy that allows for the surrender charges to be waived. In a whole life, there is no such thing as a maximum overfunded whole life per se. So, almost all whole life policies are minimally funded policies where the company is collecting as little in premium as they can take to perform on the obligations of the policy for the life of the insured. So typically the cash value starts off small and grows over time. But in order to stuff all the cash that we need into it for the double play, we need to bundle a term rider along with that base policy. That term rider is going to raise the overall death benefit, which allows room for more cash to be dumped into the policy in the form of paid up additions. So a maximum overfunded whole life is really a combination of a small base policy, ideally no more than 10% of your premium going towards that, a term rider to get the death benefit up to allow for paid up additions. Now, ideally about 90% of your premium, I'm sorry, not 90, about 85% of your premium should be going towards the paid up additions in the policy. Now, as far as what's liquid and what can be borrowed against, the base policy is a standard whole life policy, so there's going to be surrender charges, and it's going to take time to accumulate cash value anyway. So you're not looking to that for much of the cash value that you're going to be able to borrow against. The term rider is just that. It's a term rider, so there is no cash value associated with that. And paid up additions are completely liquid from day one. So you can borrow against that, and ideally that represents about 85% of your premium. So in a properly designed whole life, it looks much like a properly designed index universal life with about 85% cash value to premium. And mind you, the illustration always shows the dividends or the interest crediting applied at the end of the year. So oftentimes you'll see numbers greater than 85% that I'm speaking about, much more, closer to like 90% on the illustration itself. But when you back out that first year growth, now we're back to about 85% that's available at the beginning of the year. And even with whole life, you still ideally want to work with a policy that has a variable loan option. So wrapping up, the whole point of this video was to show you or explain to you that you can borrow against a properly designed maximum overfunded policy immediately. And the key word there is properly designed. We just need to make sure that we have riders on the policy that allow for access to the cash value without surrender charges, and a variable loan option that allows the cash value, especially in an IUL, to stay in the interest crediting options that you've selected. So with that, that's all I have on this topic. If you're still hungry for information and you're not ready to talk to a life insurance agent yet, I highly recommend going out to Facebook and joining my double play group. I've got a link to that down in the description below. But that group is made up of people that are utilizing their policies for investing in real estate, as well as people that are there just to learn. But go there and scan the conversations and see if your question's been asked, or if you want, just post a question to the group and see what answers you get. In addition, there's a ton of resources available alongside this video on my website at innovative-retirementstrategies.com. I consider my website to be a no fluff zone. So everything that's on there is just solid information, detailed blog posts that accompany every video that I do, as well as just tons of information to answer all of your questions about investing in real estate utilizing life insurance. And finally, if you enjoy getting all this content for free, consider supporting me at Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link in the description below, but your financial support allows me the incentive, or gives me the incentive to keep producing this content. So with that, I will see you in the next video.